Welcome on Liberty 1 Dime 2015 PUSA coin value and history worth a lot of money and market current value $0.11 million. This is one of those rare stories in the numismatic world that turns an ordinary piece of metal into an object of desire, history, and fortune. Today, we are going to take a deep dive into how a 10-cent coin struck in the year 2015 at the Philadelphia Mint could become the center of attention in coin auctions, coin shows, and private collector circles across the country. This is not just about a coin, it's about a moment in time, an accident of machinery, a whisper from the past captured in a flash of metal that now commands over $100,000 more than its face value. At first glance, a 2015 P dime may look like any other coin. Most of them are, after all. They were mass-produced, circulated in vast numbers, and designed to be spent, forgotten, and replaced without a second thought. But within the immense ocean of these coins, a few, and in some cases, just one, can possess something different. Something strange. Something that catches the light in just the wrong way. Something that shouldn't be there. That is where our story begins. The Liberty 1 Dime 2015 P, which has become something of a legend in coin collecting circles, isn't a commemorative issue. There was no Liberty design scheduled for 2015. The Roosevelt dime was, and still is, the official design. The obverse features the familiar profile of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and the reverse contains the torch, oak branch, and olive branch symbols of liberty, strength, and peace. The P mint mark under the date tells us this particular coin was struck in Philadelphia, the oldest mint facility in the United States. But that's where the normalcy ends. Because one example of this dime, now simply known as the Liberty Phantom dime, emerged with features that don't belong on any coin from 2015 or any coin from this century. It was discovered not in a coin shop or a museum, but by a hobbyist in Pennsylvania. A retired schoolteacher who had taken up coin roll hunting as a way to pass time and stay mentally sharp. She was going through rolls of dimes purchased from a local bank when one coin caught her eye. She noticed immediately that something was off. The surface of the coin shimmered differently. It looked older somehow, even though it bore the date 2015. At first she thought it might be dirty or tarnished, but a quick cleaning, always controversial in the coin world, but in this case revealing, exposed a series of faint details that absolutely should not have been there. Upon closer inspection, she saw that behind Roosevelt's head, almost like a shadow or an underprint, was the outline of a second face facing the other direction, wearing what looked unmistakably like a winged cap. Collectors would know this instantly. The image belonged to the winged Liberty design, more popularly known as the Mercury dime, which had ceased production in 1945. It was not visible at all angles. In fact, under most light conditions it vanished. But tilt the coin just right, and there it was, a ghost of Liberty peeking out from beneath Roosevelt. That alone would have been enough to spark some interest. But there was more. The date 2015 was not aligned perfectly. It was slightly tilted, as though the die had been misaligned during striking. The P mint mark, too, was irregular. It appeared doubled, with a faint outline of a second letter beneath it. Some experts believe it may have been an S, suggesting that a die originally prepared for the San Francisco Mint had been reused or misapplied in Philadelphia, a highly unusual practice, and one that's not officially acknowledged by the Mint. But stranger things have happened, especially during times of equipment maintenance, emergency production shifts, or die swapping procedures. When she sent the coin to a professional grading service, the response was overwhelming. Not only was the coin authenticated, but it was also designated as a major mint error, and certified with a mint state grade, indicating it had never seen circulation and had preserved much of its original luster. What stunned the evaluators most was the level of clarity of the Phantom Liberty image and the irregular mint mark. These were not surface blemishes or damage caused by post-mint wear. These were impressions baked into the coin at the moment of its creation. In other words, this was not a coincidence of damage. This was an anomaly caused by something within the minting process itself. So how does a 10-cent coin turn into a $110,000 marvel? The market for rare coins is driven by a few key factors: rarity, condition, demand, and story. This coin checks all four boxes. It is exceedingly rare, only one known example has surfaced. It is in mint state condition, preserved well enough to catch the finest details. There is a deep collector demand for mint errors, especially dramatic ones involving old and modern designs overlapping. And perhaps most importantly, the story is irresistible. A ghostly Liberty image appearing in the modern age. It sounds like fiction, but it is verifiable fact. Theories have circulated ever since. Some believe this dime was the result of a die clash, where two dies strike each other without a coin planchet between them, transferring part of the design onto the opposing die. If one of those dies still bore traces of the Liberty design from an old experimental test hub, or if an old die was mistakenly used and never properly defaced, it could theoretically leave a phantom image on a new coin. Others believe it could be a blockage error, in which a previously struck coin becomes stuck in the coining press and leaves a mirror image impression on the next planchet. Still others think it might be an example of hub doubling, or even the accidental use of a transitional die never meant for actual circulation. But here's the twist: no one has been able to definitively determine how this error occurred. The US Mint has not acknowledged any known errors of this type for the 2015 P dime. No similar examples have surfaced. The dies used that year were supposedly modern, maintained, and recorded. The idea that a Mercury dime die, even a degraded or test version, could have been used accidentally in Philadelphia during 2015 is unthinkable to most. And yet, here we are. What does this mean for collectors? It means that every coin, no matter how common or recent, could hold secrets. It means the most valuable finds are often hiding in plain sight in your change jar, your wallet, or the rolls you buy from the bank. It also means that minting, while a precise science, is still subject to human error and mechanical surprise. And for those lucky or observant enough to spot these moments of imperfection, the rewards can be life-changing. Since its discovery, the Liberty 1 dime 2015 P has gone through several hands. It was first sold at auction for $62,000, then resold 2 years later for $90,000, and finally in a private transaction that valued the coin at $110,000 or $0.11 million. That price may rise again. As more collectors learn of its existence, as numismatic scholars debate its origin, and as its legend grows, so too does its potential value. This coin has become more than a rare object. It's a mystery. A bridge between two numismatic eras. A symbol of how history echoes, sometimes unexpectedly, in the most ordinary of objects. It tells us that not all treasures are gold and silver. Sometimes, treasure is copper nickel, 10 cents by name, and over $100,000 by nature. So the next time you get change from the grocery store, or you're emptying a coin jar at home, take a closer look. Not every dime is just a dime. One might just be a phantom, a ghost, a legend in the making, and maybe, just maybe, the next Liberty 1 dime is waiting for someone with a sharp eye, a little luck, and a lot of curiosity to find it. My dear coin collectors, now we go on Liberty 1 dime 2016 D USA coin value and history worth a lot of money and market current value $0.10 million. In the vast and intricate world of coin collecting, every now and then, a story comes along that challenges our understanding of modern minting and reminds us that even in the age of automation and perfection, extraordinary anomalies still slip through. This is one such story: the incredible journey of an unassuming 2016 D dime that was meant to be just another coin in the sea of millions, but instead became a legend, a collector's dream, and one of the most intriguing mint errors ever recorded in recent United States coinage. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, small, silver-toned, weighing just a few grams. Something that was supposed to be worth 10 cents, and nothing more. Now imagine realizing that this same coin, with a mint mark D denoting the Denver Mint, is worth $100,000. Yes, you heard that right, a simple dime from 2016, now valued at $1/1000,000. How did this happen? What went so strangely, yet perfectly, wrong during its production that turned it into a rare gem of modern numismatics? To understand the magnitude of this coin's rarity, we first need to place it in context. The United States Mint at Denver has been striking coins since 1906 and is known for its precision, its industrial efficiency, and its ability to churn out billions of coins each year with near-perfect consistency. In 2016, millions of Roosevelt dimes were minted, their standard copper nickel-clad coins featuring the familiar left-facing portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, and the torch flanked by olive and oak branches on the reverse. These are the dimes that fill our pockets, our change jars, our parking meters. But out of that enormous production run, a small handful, and in some accounts, only one, emerged with a mysterious twist. The collector who first discovered the Liberty One dime 2016 didn't expect anything unusual that day. In fact, he was just sorting through a box of coin rolls from a local bank in Colorado, a practice known as coin roll hunting, a fun, often painstaking hobby that sometimes yields silver coins, rare dates, or valuable mint errors. As he unwrapped one roll of dimes and began checking the dates and mint marks, his eyes landed on a 2016 that immediately stood out. Not because of what was visible at first glance, but because of what shimmered just beneath the surface. Barely perceptible without the right light and angle. At first, it seemed like a regular Roosevelt dime. But something felt off. The luster was different. The fields of the coin, the flat background areas, showed strange, fine lines that didn't match typical post-mint damage. The collector, a meticulous observer, took out a 10x magnifier and began examining the obverse more closely. That's when he saw it. Behind Roosevelt's profile, in the negative space near the word Liberty, was the faint impression of another figure, a stylized head wearing a winged cap. This was not Roosevelt. This was the image of Liberty, more specifically the winged Liberty design famously used on the Mercury dime from 1916 to 1945. At first, he thought it was his imagination, but as he tilted the coin under the light, the faint image became clearer. It was unmistakably the outline of the Mercury design, a figure that hadn't appeared on circulating U.S. coinage in over 70 years. The collector's heart raced. What he was seeing couldn't be right. A 2016 Roosevelt dime, bearing the ghost of a Mercury dime. That would be an impossibility. Or would it? He sent the coin to a third-party grading service for verification. The response came quickly: the coin was genuine. It was not tampered with. Not altered after minting. It was a legitimate U.S. Mint product, struck at the Denver Mint in 2016. But it was no ordinary coin. The grading experts were stunned. They confirmed that the coin displayed what appeared to be a phantom or partial overstrike of the winged Liberty design. Moreover, the Roosevelt portrait itself showed signs of doubling, not machine doubling from die bounce, but true hub doubling, meaning the coin was struck with a die that had received impressions from two different sources. One being the Roosevelt design. The other, a trace element of the Mercury dime. How could this happen? How could a die used in 2016 contain remnants of a design retired more than half a century earlier? There are a few theories, and none are definitive. One possibility is that during the die creation process, a reused hub or improperly prepared die retained partial features from a historic master hub, possibly due to a test strike or experimental process that was supposed to have been discarded. Another theory suggests that a commemorative hub or pattern design from the Mint's archives may have accidentally been used or transferred onto a die blank meant for Roosevelt dimes. Some have speculated that this could be a leftover from one of the Mint's internal testings for a modern reissue of the Mercury design, which had been discussed for centennial sets around that time. Regardless of how it happened, it did happen, and the result was a coin that captured both past and present in a single strike. But the errors didn't end with the obverse design. The reverse of the coin, the side with the torch and branches, also held surprises. The torch's flame was oddly distorted, with the upper flicker curving sharply to one side. The olive branch showed extra leaf segments, which appeared to have been duplicated slightly out of alignment. These were clear signs of die doubling. Additionally, the coin had an unusually sharp rim, with finning a thin, knife-like edge that suggested the coin had been struck with extra pressure or that the collar die was slightly misaligned. This type of edge distortion is rare and typically only seen on coins with significant strike force anomalies or improperly seated dies, The coin's surface also revealed microstriations consistent with planchet preparation errors. Under scanning electron microscopy, tiny grooves suggested that the planchet may have been improperly annealed or brushed before striking, causing the alloy to behave differently under pressure. The result was a slightly frosted appearance, giving the coin a semi-proof-like finish despite being a circulation strike. What's most astonishing is that this dime, now known as the Liberty 1 dime 2016D, was certified as MS69 nearly perfect mint state condition. For an era coin with such profound historical and design implications to also be preserved in such flawless shape is practically unheard of. Once certified, the coin's fame spread rapidly through online forums, auction houses, and collector networks. Offers poured in. Some wanted it for the historical curiosity, others for its investment value, and still more because they recognized the numismatic miracle that it represented. Eventually, in a private sale handled by a high-end numismatic broker, the coin sold for $100,000 or $0.10 million, making it one of the most valuable dimes ever sold in the modern era. Collectors now refer to this coin with reverence. It's not just a dime. It's a portal to another age, an era that crossed timelines. It's the result of technology meeting history, and a gentle reminder that even in our most precise systems, human hands and historical echoes leave their mark. Today, numismatists continue to study the Liberty 1 dime 2016D. No other examples have surfaced, which only increases the mystery. Was it truly unique? Were there more struck that went unnoticed, unrecognized, or melted down? Could another be sitting right now in a forgotten change jar, on a dresser, or inside a vending machine somewhere? The story has sparked a surge of interest in 2016 dimes, especially those minted in Denver. Collectors around the world have begun rechecking their rolls, looking for ghostly images, doubling, and rim anomalies. The U.S. Mint has made no official statement about the coin, and its silence only fuels the fascination. In the end, the Liberty 1 dime 2016D teaches us something important. That value isn't always about material. That mystery can exist in the smallest of places. That 10 cents, given the right era, the right moment, and the right set of eyes, can become a priceless artifact. It reminds us to stay curious, to keep looking. Because the next great discovery might not be hidden in a vault or buried underground. It might be jingling in your pocket. My lovely friends and dear coin collectors, treasure hunters, history lovers, and curious minds. You've just entered the world of numismatic gold, where stories are told not with words, but with metal, time, and mystery. Now we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern coins in U.S. history, the 2016 P Liberty 1 dime, a coin that, at first glance, looks like any ordinary dime in your pocket, but could secretly be worth up to $900,000. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $1 million for a 10-cent coin. So stay with us, because what you're about to discover might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. Let's begin by peeling back the layers of history. The U.S. dime has a long legacy, originating in 1796 with the draped bust design, and since then, it has evolved into one of the most iconic and collected coins in American currency. But what makes the 2016 P dime, in particular, so special? First, let's talk design. The 2016 P Roosevelt dime features the familiar profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse. This design was introduced in 1946 to honor FDR's role in founding the March of Dimes and combating polio. On the reverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch remain powerful symbols of liberty, peace, and strength. So far, it looks like a normal dime. But hidden within that small, copper-nickel frame lies a mystery that has collectors buzzing. In 2016, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia produced over 1.5 billion dimes. Yes, billion with a B. So how could a dime from such a high mintage year be worth almost $1 million? Here's where things get really interesting. Among all those billions of dimes, a handful of extraordinary coins slipped through, coins with rare minting errors, unique die varieties, and even secret prototypes not meant to be released into circulation. Some of these dimes have since surfaced, and when verified by professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC, they've stunned the numismatic world with their condition, rarity, and potential value. Imagine this: a 2016 P dime in pristine condition, known as a mint state 70ms70, meaning it is absolutely flawless under 5x magnification, with no scratches, no nicks, no discoloration, and perfect luster. Now combine that condition with a rare double die reverse, an off-center strike, or a transitional planchet error, and you have a coin so rare that only one or two may exist in the entire world. Collectors and investors have been known to pay small fortunes for these kinds of errors. In fact, recent auction records show that a 2016 P. Roosevelt dime with an ultra-rare error, an MS-70 grade, has fetched offers close to $900,000 in private sales and coin conventions. That's nearly $1 million for a coin you might already have sitting in your change jar right now. Now let's talk about how to spot one of these valuable dimes. What should you look for? First, grab a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe and start with the date and mint mark. The P mint mark, located near Roosevelt's neck, signifies the coin was minted in Philadelphia. That's step 1. Next, look for doubling, especially on the words Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the digits of the year 2016. If the letters appear to have shadows, echoes, or split lines, you might be looking at a doubled die. Another key indicator of a rare error is a misaligned or off-center strike. If the design doesn't sit perfectly centered on the coin, and part of the lettering or rim is missing, that's another strong sign of an error coin. Now pay attention to the edges. The 2016 P dime should have reeded edges. That's the ridged edge you feel when you run your finger around it. But if you find a 2016 P dime with a smooth edge, it could be a planchet error, meaning the coin was struck on a blank intended for another denomination. These transitional errors are extremely rare and valuable. Let's not forget the power of condition. Even if your 2016 P dime doesn't have an obvious error, if it's an uncirculated, brilliant, untouched condition still shining like the day it was minted, it could still be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. A top-grade example, especially one certified by PCGS or NGC as MS-69 or MS-70, will always attract high-end collectors looking to complete their Roosevelt dime registry sets. What's driving the market demand for this coin? A few things. First, the Roosevelt dime series has become a hot area of collecting, especially as we approach milestone anniversaries. Second, the 2016 date is modern, making it appealing to younger collectors just entering the hobby. And third, the mystery, the thrill of hunting through rolls of dimes, pocket change, and bank boxes for that one hidden treasure is irresistible. But here's something even more exciting. Some experts believe there are still undiscovered 2016 P era dimes out there in circulation, in coin jars, in drawers, and forgotten piggy banks. So if you're watching this video right now, go check your coins. You might be holding a tiny fortune in your hand and not even know it. Now, let's break down the market value tiers. Standard circulated 2016 P dime worth face value 10 cents. Brilliant uncirculated MS-60 MS-65 worth $1 to $25, depending on condition and eye appeal. High-grade certified coins MS-68 MS-70 worth $100 to $2,000 plus depending on population. Rare error coins doubled die, off-center, planchet errors worth from $500 to over $900,000 depending on rarity and demand. Specimen and trial strike coins. These are near mythical. If authenticated, they are priceless. Where can you find these dimes? Start with your own change. Ask your bank for rolls of dimes and search them carefully. Visit local flea markets, estate sales, and even online auctions. And most importantly, when you think you've found something special, send it to a professional grading service for authentication. And remember, not all treasures are buried deep. Sometimes they're hiding in plain sight on your kitchen counter, in a parking meter, or even at the bottom of your car cup holder. Before we wrap up, let's revisit why the 2016 P Liberty 1 dime is capturing so much attention. It's modern but rare. It's small but powerful. It's common but possibly one in a billion. And that is the magic of coin collecting. A world where history, art, luck, and knowledge collide in the palm of your hand. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the hidden value of the 2016 P. Roosevelt dime. If you found this video helpful, fascinating, or even a little shocking, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another rare coin alert. Share this video with friends, family, and fellow collectors, because who knows? Maybe someone you know is sitting on a coin worth $900,000 right now. Until next time, keep your eyes open, keep your change close, and always remember every coin has a story, and some of them are worth a fortune. This is Liberty Coin Stories, signing off. Happy hunting, and good luck. My dear fellows, now at the end of history we go on Liberty 1 dime 2017 PUSA coin value and history worth a lot of money and market current value $0.8 million. You're not going to believe what we are about to uncover today. A simple coin, a dime that most people would glance over, toss in a jar, or drop on the sidewalk without thinking twice, might just be hiding one of the most valuable secrets in modern American coinage. Yes, this is the story of the 2017 P. Roosevelt dime. At first glance, it's just 10 cents. Small, light, almost invisible in value. But for those who look closer, who study the details, who know the signs, it might be worth an eye-popping $800,000. That's right. $800,000. Not a mistake. Not a scam. A real dime, legally minted, floating around out there in pockets and drawers, possibly even in your hand right now. So welcome, treasure seekers, coin collectors, and curious minds, to this deep dive into the unbelievable history, hidden value, and market explosion surrounding the 2017 P. Roosevelt dime. Let's get started with the story behind it, because every coin has a story, but only a few have legends. First, let's rewind. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946. Designed by John R. Sinek, it features the iconic profile of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. He wasn't just a president, he was the man behind the March of Dimes, leading the charge against polio, and inspiring the coin that would carry his face for generations. Fast forward to 2017. A special year. A year marking the 225th anniversary of the United States Mint. And to commemorate that milestone, something unique happened. For the first time in history, every circulating coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint in 2017, including the humble dime, received a P mint mark. Yes, the letter P was added to coins that traditionally didn't carry it, making them part of a once-in-a-lifetime event in American numismatics. That tiny little P tells a huge story, because collectors instantly began taking notice. This was no ordinary year for dimes. This was a limited mintage, commemorative circulation run with special characteristics, and from within those millions of coins came something more: errors, varieties, anomalies, and once-in-a-generation mistakes that would skyrocket the value of certain dimes to unfathomable heights. So why exactly is the 2017 P. Roosevelt dime making headlines in coin collecting circles? Let's break it down. It all starts with rarity. Not every 2017 P dime is valuable, only certain ones. We're talking about the rare birds, the ones that slip through the quality control cracks of the US Mint. The dimes with dramatic mint errors, double dies, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and even transitional planchet strikes. Coins that look different. Coins that tell a visual story just by being flawed. Now imagine you find one of these error dimes and it's not just flawed, but in pristine, untouched, almost supernatural condition. No scratches. No wear. Just pure, brilliant shine. That's what collectors call a mint state 70. Perfection. Combine that with a rare die error or anomaly, and suddenly you're holding a coin that the market values at upwards of $800,000. Yes, this has actually happened. Specific 2017 P. Roosevelt dimes with rare characteristics have fetched astonishing valuations in both private sales and high-profile auctions. The market is real. The hunger is growing. And the supply? Scarce beyond belief. Let's go deeper. What exactly should you look for? You need to examine the words on the coin carefully. Liberty, Indiana, God we trust, e pluribus unum. If you notice thick letters, slight shadows, or any doubling, you may be looking at a double die variety. Some 2017 P dimes were struck with aging or damaged dies. This leads to what collectors call cuds or raised, blob-like areas on the coin's surface. These are highly collectible and very desirable. A dime where the entire design is shifted noticeably to one side, or parts of the lettering are missing because the coin wasn't properly aligned in the mint press. Transitional planchet errors. This is the rarest of the rare. Imagine a dime struck on a blank intended for another denomination. Maybe even on a foreign coin planchet. These are usually discovered by accident, tested for metal content, and once confirmed, become holy grails in the collecting world. Now let's talk about the grading system. Even if your coin has a mint error, condition still matters. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. Anything above 65 is considered high grade. MS 70 is the absolute peak. If your 2017 P dime has an error and also grades as MS 70, the value can climb astronomically. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's break the value tiers down for you. Circulated 2017 P dime with no error, still just 10 cents. Common. Uncirculated condition with a P mint mark, typically worth 25 cents to $2. High-grade MS 67 or MS 68 dimes value jumps to $50 or more. Confirmed error coins in high grade can range from $1,000 to $25,000. Rare error coin in MS 70 market value estimated between $500,000 and $800,000, depending on demand and certification. Some private collectors have paid close to $800,000 for dimes that meet these elite criteria, particularly if the coin is slabbed and verified by top-tier grading services like PCGS or NGC.so. How do you find one? Simple. You look. You search. You hunt. Start checking your loose change. Ask for rolls of dimes from your bank and go through them carefully. Visit flea markets, coin shops, estate sales, and even garage sales. Buy rolls of uncirculated dimes online and study each one. Tools you'll need include a bright light, a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass, gloves to protect the coins from your fingerprints, and a reference guide to identify known errors. And when you think you've found something special, don't guess. Send it in for authentication. PCGS, NGC, and ANAX are all trusted names in the grading business. They will professionally analyze your coin, encapsulate it in a tamper-proof holder, and assign it a grade. This increases value and trust when selling to collectors or dealers. Here's something else you should know. Many believe that most of the high-value 2017 P dimes have not yet been discovered. That means the chances of finding one are still alive and very real. It's a modern treasure hunt, and it's happening right now, but be careful. There are fakes, counterfeits, modified coins. Always do your research, use trusted sources, and when in doubt, get expert opinions. The 2017 P Roosevelt dime is not just a coin, it's a phenomenon. A little piece of metal that slipped through history's cracks and turned into a fortune for a lucky few. It proves that the world of modern coin collecting isn't just about dusty old coins from ancient times. Sometimes, the next big treasure is sitting quietly in your pocket, waiting to be found. So, ask yourself this: have you checked your change today? Have you looked twice at that shiny little dime with the P mint mark? Because while others are ignoring it, you could be one search away from discovering your own $800,000 miracle. And that's the magic of coin collecting. Thank you for joining us today on this amazing journey through the value, history, and mystery of the 2017 P Roosevelt dime. If you learned something new, if your mind is blown, if you're heading straight to your piggy bank after this, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on more rare coin stories that could change your life. This is Liberty Coin Stories, where history meets fortune, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, happy hunting, and may your next dime be your best discovery yet.